You're listening to the Telltale Channel. Don't forget to check me out on all social media: Patreon, Twitter, Teespring, and Etsy. All links can be found in the description or on my website, telltaleatheist.com. Hey, this is Owen. If you're comfortable, leave your first name and state at the sound of the tiny truck backing up.
Hey, Owen. This is Madeline from Alabama. Wish me luck. I have been having a lot of conversations with my parents and things. They know that I am part of the LGBTQ community and that I am an atheist. But I'd just like to get I don't quite know how to articulate against the hate the sin, love the sinner type of argument. Anyways, thanks for listening. Bye.
Very interesting question. What's the difference between hating the person and hating the sin but loving the sinner? I think that the hate the sin, love the sinner ideology, if you will, that's probably not the right word, but anyway, the hate the sin, love the sinner idea is held by Jehovah's Witnesses pretty heavily. And I think it varies wildly from religion to religion, or from cult to cult, how heavily they actually hate the sinner. They claim to hate the sin but love the sinner, but how deeply do they conflate the two, the sin and the sinner? With Jehovah's Witnesses, they find a way to hate the sin but love the sinner, which is different from a lot of other religions who are very bigoted and hateful toward people who are gay, for example. You'd have to come at it from like an individual cult or an individual group basis to see how severely they actually do hate the sinner. But generally speaking, just in my personal life, I don't hate anybody for anything. I want to understand why people are the way they are, why they believe the things that they believe. And I feel like part of the reason that I can justify not hating anybody for anything, even the most vile people, is because, look at it this way. Uday Hussein is the son of Saddam Hussein, right? Guy's a monster. He is a monster. He's done terrible things. By the way, I heard this from Sam Harris, son. I picked it up. I thought it was really interesting. Uday Hussein is a monster, but would he have been a monster if he had been raised by somebody else? Would Donald Trump be as bad of a person as he is if he had been raised by somebody else? If he'd been raised by my parents, for example, would Donald Trump be a bad person? Is there something inherent in your DNA that you are born with that makes you a bad person? No. I'm an atheist. Some people here may not be, but I am. I don't believe there's anything supernatural about you that makes you who you are, some special thing. It all comes down to your experiences. That is who you are. Your experiences make you. If Donald Trump had been raised by somebody a little bit less fucked up, he would be a good person. I can't blame Donald Trump for being the piece of trash that he is. I can't forgive him for it. I can't look past it. I need to protect society from it. But ultimately, really, I can't blame him for it. It's not his fault that he turned out to be an amoral monster. When you realize that people are the culmination of their experiences, you start taking kind of a different viewpoint toward things. You start trying to focus more on recidivism, on fixing the problem, rather than punishing people. Like, the criminal justice system would be completely different if we all realized that people are the culmination of their experiences, that they are who they are because of the things that they've experienced, not for some ethereal soul that they have or something like that. The murderer in prison right now is a murderer because something broke in his brain. Something went wrong. Personally, I've never had an interest in murdering anybody. That's just not on my list. It's not a thing that I've sat there and thought about doing. Why? Why have I not thought about doing it, but the criminal sitting in prison has? What's the difference between me and them? And Is that difference that person's fault? Ultimately, probably not. It's probably not their fault. When you start looking at it like that, your worldview changes a lot. And you stop trying to attack people and you start trying to work with them and talk them through things and figure out where their head is at and why they feel the way that they do. And maybe try to change their mind on some things. Now, I'm talking from an ideological perspective. I'm viewing this from the cult lens. How do I deprogram people? That's the way I'm looking at it. If I had been born into a Baptist family, would I be a Jehovah's Witness? No, I wouldn't. The question ultimately was about the love the sinner but hate the sin ideology. You could say that I have that kind of ideology in a sense, but I've seen that a lot of religious people don't really pick that up honestly. They don't really use that in good faith at all. It's a term that was coined as a cop-out to hate gay people anyways and not be a bad person in their own eyes, basically. It's a term that says, yeah, I hate that people are homosexual. I don't like it. I think they're wrong to do it. But I love them. I still love the person. That's what that term was coined to be. Now, if they are misusing the love the sinner, hate the sin idea and weaponizing it and using it to hate people while not facing social consequences, then they can go fuck themselves as far as I'm concerned. But in reality, generally, I don't hate anybody for anything, as I said. I try to find the good in everybody because it is there. Everybody has a redeeming quality. Everybody. And I try to fix the unmanageable parts of their belief system. I try to help them work through the cult-like parts of their personality, if you will.